Good morning, all. Welcome to the membership meeting. My name is Jerry Schumacher. I'm chair, and we'll now have Kirby give benediction.
Thank you, Jerry. Bow your heads with me, please. Gracious Heavenly Father, as we come at this point in the time of the day, just to stop and say thank you, Father God, for the blessings that you have bestowed down upon us individually as well as collectively. Thanking you for this opportunity that we can come together with one mind, one mission, thinking about what's best or what we can do for our community. Thank you for the small things. We thank you for the big things. We thank you for our lying down last night and the ability with a reasonable portion of health to rise up this morning for this opportunity to come together. Our prayers this morning for the leaders of this community. Father God, give them wisdom to lead us in the direction that we need to go. Let them pause and say, thank you, Lord, for giving them the wisdom to lead this community. Let us always remember the least of these are among us. Let us hear their voices, their cries. Let us do the things that benefit all people in all things. Father, we would continue to give you the praise and honor in all things that we do. These things we ask and pray in your name. Amen.
Thank you, Jerry, and thank you, Kirby. Hi, everyone. Thank you guys so much for taking time out of your day to be with us. We look forward all year to this State of the Community event where we have the opportunity to listen to our community leaders. And we are incredibly thankful for Crosspoint Community Church and Pastor Chad Current and Austin Berry and all of the staff here for not just lending us their facility, but their staff members and volunteers. This is an incredible place to have events like this. We can space out well, and then, of course, state-of-the-art equipment and everything. You guys just do such a wonderful job. And please join me in giving them a round of applause for giving us this space today. We're also incredibly appreciative of our annual sponsors, and their investment in our organization allows us to hold events like this. So an extra thank you to Carmuse Lime, East Kentucky Power, International Paper, the Ledger Independent, Meadowview Regional Medical Center, and WFTM. We are privileged to have with us today two of our highest ranking locally elected officials for the State of the Community event. They're both outstanding members of the Chamber, but also great partners as we work to grow and support our business community. Today, we will hear first from Judge Executive Owen McNeill and then Mayor Debra Cotterill, and we'll hold a question and answer session at the conclusion of both of their presentations. So now I'd like to introduce you to my colleague and friend, Judge Executive Owen McNeill. You have his bio in your agenda, but I do want to highlight a little bit of his background. He's a Maysville and Mason County native, and he currently serves as Mason County Judge Executive. He was appointed to this role by Kentucky Governor Andy Beshear in February of 2021 after the loss of Judge Joe Peffer. Prior to that appointment, Judge McNeill served as Executive Director of the Maysville-Mason County area, no, that's my job, Maysville-Mason County Industrial Development Authority. He helped that job plenty too, where he brought numerous projects to fruition, creating jobs, increasing momentum in our business sector, assisting in the revitalization of downtown, and so much more. He's a graduate of Center College and lives with his wife, Tina, and the mascot of Mason County, his dog, Murphy, in Maysville. Judge McNeill.
Good morning. Good morning. Now that we got the rain away this week, I think we're going to have another great day here in Maysville-Mason County. I want to take an opportunity to thank Casey and Jerry and members of the Chamber of Commerce for putting on this annual production. I think it's always a good opportunity to take a small pause and think about where we were, where we're headed to, and the current state of our community. And I feel pretty confident saying that the current state of Mason County and Maysville, as well as northeastern Kentucky, is very strong and growing stronger daily. It's hard to start off one of these things without recognizing the pandemic that we're currently in. As many of you have seen, we've been in the red category for quite a while now. We've gone from averaging 10 cases to 260 a few weeks ago, but now we're back on the tail end at 191 cases as of last night. It goes without saying this Delta variant is nothing we've ever seen before, and I think we all need to be cognizant in understanding what we can do to pull ourselves out of this pandemic. It's imperative that every Mason County citizen goes out and gets a vaccination and is cognizant of their surroundings. And I think together we'll do a good job in tampering this down and battling this pandemic. Also, I think it's a good opportunity to highlight how well our health department has done. Victor and his team have been phenomenal. We've got Joe Cook here with Meadowview Regional Hospital. What a phenomenal job they're doing. And so, lastly on that note, I'd like to urge citizens, to sit back and take a second before going in and seeking medical care. We're all scared if we wake up and we've got a headache or a small cough, but to just, try and take a deep breath, remain patient with our healthcare workers, because they're truly heroes here in this area and kind of the front line battling this pandemic. And so I think it's imperative that we all, utilize some patience in entering into our healthcare system now. Successes. So what is Mason County, Maysville? What are we doing well? I want to highlight economic development and resiliency, our resiliency. Everything, all of our successes today are in spite of this pandemic. We've had, a booming downtown business district, as everyone has witnessed. We've all sizes, shapes, from small retail businesses such as Bradley's Boutique, Kenton's, 41 West. We even did the renovation there at the Mason County Public Library. We've also opened restaurants. We've got 212 Market in downtown. We've got Bryant's Cove, as well as Kenton's in downtown. We've focused on some entertainment venues with the previously mentioned Kenton's, the Barrel House here in Maysville, as well as the Maysville Brewing Company. I mentioned earlier, we've increased our healthcare presence. Meadowview Regional Medical Center and LifePoint's new cancer treatment center here in Mason County. We did the ribbon cutting, groundbreaking for that. I think it's a phenomenal asset we will have going forward into the future, and the impact that will have for folks that previously had to travel for cancer treatment, and how much that takes out of somebody who's affected by cancer, having to travel at least an hour away. And so from here on out, we'll have that asset here in Maysville. Primary Plus's investments across Mason County in kid care, Denham Medical Clinic, and others. As a matter of fact, Primary Plus is investing in some new CT equipment, as well as recruiting and bringing in specialists from Cincinnati that this area and our residents and citizens have never had access to. We brought back some historical businesses with Hardeman's Lumber, their miraculous rebuild after their fire a year and a half ago, which is certainly close to my heart, as my family's lumber yard burned actually on my birthday in 1977. But the list goes on and on. So much so that we actually coined the phrase Maysville's Grand Opening Season 2021 in partnership with Casey and our chamber. We did something like 15 grand openings over a 2-month period. We've had several days with multiple grand openings in one day. And it's been all over Mason County, from Old Washington to the top of the hill, to downtown, to TNF signs all the way, in western Mason County. And here's the great thing. So we're not done. We're far from finished. We'll still have several new openings to come. Just yesterday we announced a new investment from Cotterill Oil over in eastern Mason County. It's going to help those citizens. Jeff and Tammy Castillo and their icons of pop culture and Hollywood Wardrobe Connection in downtown is close to opening up. And we couldn't ask for better citizens for Mason County than Jeff and Tammy. Great folks, just the type of person we're looking to bring to Mason County and open new businesses. October 8th, we'll open up Classic Cuts and Drew Osmond here on top of the hill. And also look for the Hippie Picker and, some other openings in the next few weeks. So we've announced big box retail. As everyone has seen, we kicked off Harbor Freight, our Hobby Lobby investment. 2 months ago, we announced Kroger's expansion along with Starbucks. Walmart did kind of phased expansion, but most recently has put on a $200,000 roof. They did 50 tons of asphalt in repaving their parking lot. And the key thing there is they're using local contractors and using local people to get that work done. We recently announced Lowe's is going to be expanding with a new 10,000 square foot tool rental division. It's not only going to bring new services here in Maysville-Mason County, but also several additional jobs. And then Big Sandy's massive new showroom. It's going to be opening soon. We greatly appreciate the Van Hoos family and their confidence in our retail marketplace here. On the industrial end of things, EnviroFlight's expansion we announced. Upwards of $80 million they're investing in Mason County and truly have become an ag tech bellwether, certainly for northeastern Kentucky. PPI is hiring dozens of folks. Stober drives the swamps. In fact, literally all of the former Pope warehouse space, which is now owned by Phoenix investors, is leased out for the first time in 25 years. This year, the state of Kentucky is on pace for the best year in new investments, and Mason County is certainly seeing our share. Services. We've made great strides in services such as broadband. We announced Windstream's gig service that they're still working on here in Maysville-Mason County. AT&T recently announced their upgrade to low-grade 5G on all 5 of their towers here in Mason County. For the first time ever, Spectrum and Charter Communications are going to come into Mason County. And our hometown provider, Limestone Cable, has increased their speeds as well as completed their redundancy plan. We're still waiting for a few additional investments from the federal government's RDOF reverse auction, but we're certainly optimistic. And so, looking forward, we've got several programs on the horizon. Our city and county-wide broadband study in partnership with the city. CTC's mapping team was here on the ground the week of August 23rd. They're mapping poles and infrastructure across Mason County. I'd like to thank you guys for your help in sharing the broadband speed test survey. We'll utilize all of that data with CTC's team, to better understand for the first time ever where we are with our communication systems here in Mason County. For the first time ever, they'll utilize that data to build out, what would be an efficient broadband system for Mason County, as well as also giving us realistic cost estimates. And so at that point, we'll release some requests for proposals to all of our national providers and local providers, to see how we can boost not only our speeds, but capacities here in Mason County. Ultimately, in a nutshell, we're going to have an accurate picture of where services are and what we need to move forward. Also want to bring up our landfill project. For years, the Mason County landfill was paid to take in synthetic gypsum from our different power plants here. Approximately 1.3 million tons of gypsum was taken into a cell at the Mason County landfill. We also received funds to cap that cell from the state at the landfill. We've been working with a marketing firm, Gypsoil, which is a subsidiary of BMR, to now sell that gypsum into the agricultural market, the construction market, and are seeing very positive results. As a matter of fact, 2 weeks ago, we completed our initial test run where we trucked approximately 160 tons out for a client. And, when their tests return, we're estimating we'll probably sell all of it in 4 to 5 years. And so the benefits of thinking outside the box like that for Mason County, additional funding for the landfill in the county, we'll regain a 22-acre construction landfill, and it's also going to extend the life of our contained landfill and preserve waste disposal for generations to come. I've kind of highlighted our initiatives with recycling and our self-sort facility out at the landfill, but we're seeing now 200-plus citizens come out every month doing recycling there at the landfill. We're also taking in all recycling from businesses at a pretty significant cost because, we see it's the right thing to do. It's reserving space in our landfill, and they're doing such a good job self-sorting that material. Water and utilities, looking forward. We're doing a great job working with the city and understanding where our needs are. Also with Buffalo Trace Area Development District, we're looking at their EDA's $3 billion grant for water and wastewater projects. We're also looking at the state's funding for water and wastewater projects. Ultimately, we want to figure out how we can improve our infrastructure with the help of so much federal assistance. In my mind, regardless of what you think about federal spending, if they've passed it, they're gonna spend it. And in my mind, I want them to spend it right here in Maysville and Mason County. The county is also working on a new website. We're working with local Fran Sarver on a new Mason County website that we're greatly looking forward to rolling out. Fran is interviewing each division head, and we've got 3 aspirations for that website. One, we want it to be more informative. We want it to be more interactive with the ability to take payments. Try and find ways to better serve our citizens. And then lastly, we want overall just to be a better experience. And so we'll be excited to roll that out. In today's world, that website and that web presence is your face to the outside world. And, we have to make sure that's on a professional par in lieu of where we want to go as a community. I'll also talk about our Ag Tech and Innovation Facility. A few weeks ago, we held the inaugural event at the facility with the Mason County Livestock Improvement Association's Youth Livestock Show and Sale. This is in Lewisburg, the former hay auction site, 63-acre site that represents to our agrarian community and roots here in Mason County. I want it to represent our agrarian community as well as Cummins Nature Preserve does for outdoor hiking. I can foresee walking trails out there, sponsorship opportunities. In other words, maybe these are the 3 forms of fencing options from southern states. Agrarian-related demonstrations in partnership with the Department of Ag. Possibly even an incubator. We're seeing larger barriers to entry into the farming community. And so possibly we'll utilize, 10 acres for, some type of entrepreneurial contest with the winner, providing their own sweat equity, either seed or feed, but using those proceeds from those 10 acres as a down payment for their first farm. We've had the governor's office for ag policy reps in to see the site. We're also working with the Kentucky Center for Ag and Rural Development, KCARD, and Dr. Botts, as well as Buffalo Trace Ad, in finding funding for the Ag Tech and Innovation Center. I think it could truly be, a regional attraction. We're also making moves to make sure good quality jobs come to Mason County. The aforementioned broadband study, but we also did the deal on the former Federal Mogul building. ultimately, we got that property for a lot less than what it appraised for with the value on the building. The important part is the Industrial Development Authority owns all 63 acres surrounding that building. So not only do we have a new spec building, but a new industrial park with probably the nicest spec building of 150,000 square feet in the state of Kentucky. I foresee once we have a buyer for that facility, that's going to fund the Industrial Development Authority at least for our lifetime. And then additionally, today, I can announce that Project New Park, which represents that Federal Mogul facility, is a finalist for the $500,000 State Product Development Initiative grant, where we've submitted for funding for building upfit and to make the building more efficient. And so we've submitted to put in and install all new HVAC, new lighting within the building, all projects that are going to make it more enticing for a new manufacturer to move here in Maysville and Mason County. So we're very excited about that. Next Monday, the folks with Site Selection Group will be here to view the property. And then on October 11th, we'll do basically a virtual site visit for the project. And that's outside of the fact we're seeing significant interest in the building already. Outside the Federal Mogul building, we've never had more activity and folks looking to expand, not only across the state, but here in Mason County. Also, President Ward is here. The city and the county are working with the Fleming-Mason Airport and MCTC to do an airplane mechanics training program here at Fleming-Mason Airport. And we're very excited to see where that might lead. It's not a finalized deal yet, but we firmly feel that being so close to CVG, Northern Kentucky Airport, as well as Amazon's Air Hub, that a resident here in Maysville-Mason County could go learn to be an aircraft mechanic, travel 35, 40 minutes to Northern Kentucky, and make $80,000 a year starting off. So we're very excited about the potential for that project. Ultimately, I'll highlight our city-county relationships as well. I think they've never been stronger. That's evidence in our broadband study, working with the Simon Kenton Bridge, along with State Representative Lawrence, and all of our aligned infrastructure needs. This new city-county alignment is noticed, not only by citizens, but statewide and nationally as well. It's noticed. Funding entities notice it. Prospective citizens notice it, and business and industry notices it. And so we're very proud of that relationship. As far as the county, our road department has done a phenomenal job all year long. We received a governor's discretionary award grant for Big Pond Road that helped out immensely for $140,000 to repave it. We did partially close Lee's Creek Road due to safety and maintenance costs, but it just wasn't feasible to keep that road open. We've also done pavement jobs with North Bear Wallow, Thomas Lane, Kidder Lane, Clarence Street, Valley Pike, Mason Road, and many others. On the funding level, we adopted our tax rates at the August meeting of 22.7 cents per $100, and Treasurer Muse and I were looking at that. Over the last 21 years, from the county's portion, that equates to only a $95 increase on a $100,000 home. That's all the tax increases has been in Mason County for the last 21 years. I think that's phenomenal. We're seeing shrinking revenue streams from the state every day, but to be able to hold our tax rates that low, I think is certainly an accomplishment. We're looking to leverage grant funds wherever we can. I mentioned the Big Pond Road Governor's Discretionary Fund. Today we can announce we're going to be receiving, thanks to Buffalo Trace Area Development District, a $265,000 community development block grant for our senior housing center. We're going to use these funds to renovate 7 units up at our senior center with improved living quarters, new windows, new doors, roof replacement, and HVAC work. We also received a $50,000 Rosenwald School grant from the National Trust for Historic Preservation. And soon we'll commence with our utility assistance grants, for which Mason County was awarded $170,000. So ultimately, we're looking for avenues to expand our impact. Our ARPA funding, Mason County received $3.3 million. We got $1.6 million in May, and we'll get the balance of that next May. The commissioners and I are looking at those funds and how they'll be utilized, but ultimately, in my mind, speaking for myself, on the surface, it'll be for revenue recovery for Mason County. Second, for our broadband improvement project. And third, possibly even a talent attraction program for Mason County. Figuring out a way to better tell our story in Mason County. Back on the COVID front, I'm still worried that we need a higher vaccination rate. I'm starting to somewhat worry about the drag on our economy. But Mason County and our resiliency, we've pulled through so far. And so, I'll end by saying I want citizens to think about this pandemic and think about when it initially came out and how we came together, the patience that we utilized with each other, and the caring we utilized with each other. Also, I want you to think about, finding ways to spend your shopping dollars locally. I think that's imperative, especially going into this fall Christmas season. Somewhat worried about our labor force participation. We need folks to get back to work. We've got plenty of jobs here in the area. We need to make sure we've got the workforce that can sustain these new jobs. But looking forward, I feel like I'm very optimistic for Mason County's future, and I think over the next month and a half or so, we'll have a couple more announcements that will bolster that confidence. And so I'll leave you with that today, and thank you for your time, and I'll turn it back to Ms. Casey.
So I'll do a selfish plug here. He mentioned keeping your dollars local. The Chamber of Commerce has the Chamber Local gift checks, so you can stop in anytime you get those. Those spend just like a regular gift certificate or check, and there's a list of locations that are Chamber members that accept those, everything from retail to restaurants. So thank you, Owen, for that perfect lead-in. Mayor Debra Cotterill is a graduate of Mason County High School, Maysville Community College, and University of Kentucky. She holds a Bachelor of Science in Merchandising, Apparel, and Textiles, and a master's degree with a thesis in Rural Kentucky consumers' use of e-commerce. She's owned her own business, been an instructor at MCTC, and she retired from the University of Kentucky Cooperative Extension Service in 2019 after 24 years. Mayor Cotterill's dedication to service is exemplified in the courageous way she's taken on her new role as mayor of our wonderful city, continuing and contributing to the momentum and growth of our various businesses. She's leading our community forward with investments in broadband, as well as creating a pro-business environment for our many local entrepreneurs. Mayor Cotterill.
Good morning. Thank you, Casey, and to Jerry and to the Chamber for this opportunity. I really appreciate it. And I'm going to try to follow up and maybe share a few details of things beyond what Owen has already shared with you this morning. And I wouldn't be remiss without thanking Judge McNeill and Matt Wallingford and the commissioners for their support over the last 5 months as we did this transition. And one of the things, visiting all the departments in the city has really helped in what I call the education of Debra. And it's been so rewarding and enlightening to see the issues that they face, their innovative thought process, how fiscally responsible they are, and looking outside the box, as Owen mentioned, and how we approach things. Just last week, Chief Doyle and Assistant Chief White came over, and they were concerned about recruitment and retention and paramedics. And so Matt and those guys and us, we sat down and we did some brainstorming, and they just didn't come over and say, well, we need higher pay. They were looking for solutions, and so we brainstormed, and they're off working on a solution right now. So it's just such a good team of people, and it's so encouraging to see that process work. And of course, Charles is always in my ear, and I kind of wish that I'd listened a little more on those nightly city chats we had. Our styles may be a little different. Matt kind of made fun of me a couple of days ago because I made a suggestion, and he wouldn't like that. And I said, I know, I've already thought about that, but I still feel like this is the right thing to do, and so I gave him my suggestion. But the support has been tremendous, and I greatly appreciate that. I just briefly mentioned the city has also done an RFP, a call for proposals for a new website. We want to enter into the technology world and provide services and easy navigation on our website and a system to make sure that it stays up to date. And one of the things I'm really excited about is the chamber, the county, and the city, including tourism, is all looking at, once we've done our individual websites, having a landing page. So if somebody types in Maysville, Kentucky, this landing page comes up, and then if they want the chamber, they can click on that button. If they want city government, it'll take them right to that. If they want tourism, it'll take them right to there. So that's part of that great cooperation that Owen talked about that we have. And another thing with COVID and all that going on, we wanted to kind of keep folks informed, and so we've used a lot of the Facebook and our website to do that. And I wanted you all to know, some of you have already seen it, that I now have a Debra Cotterill, Mayor, City of Maysville Facebook page, and I'll be doing a lot of my postings there, including information that I think the citizens need. So watch for that and like it or follow. I want to mention just briefly about boards and commissions. Charles and I greatly believed in rotation on boards and commissions. And these are the ones that are appointed by the mayor and approved by the commissioners. I really feel like 1 or 2 terms on a board and then rotating off. This policy ensures new ideas, but also broadens civic engagement. It gets more people involved. They learn about city government, what goes on, what goes into things, and makes our citizens more informed. And this also reduces the risk of ownership and entitlement. And because those terms are usually 3 or 4 years long, that ensures historic value and a core knowledge that supports those boards and commissions. And the outcome is citizen participation, a broadened knowledge base, plus new energy, which is all win-win. I know you all have seen a lot about the budget back in June when we were going through that process. I want to commend the city in Penny Stanfield, our controller, Matt, all the department heads, for being so physically responsible last year. I know that the city commissioners and Charles were really concerned about COVID and the impact, and so everybody really tightened their belt, and then they sought funds from other sources and were able to successfully secure those funds. And a lot of that credit goes to Amy and Christy at Buffalo Trace Ad for their strong support in getting those applications in on time and correctly. I have to kind of give them a little kudos. Somebody said recently that the first application into the state on some funding, that was the first one in and had everything correct. And Rocky Adkins said, let me guess, it was Buffalo Trace, and it was. So congratulations to them. When we passed the budget in the spring, of course, we have to have a balanced budget, which meant that to do the things that we knew we had to do, we would have to use a little bit of reserves. And I'm happy to say that the carryover from 2020 with those grants and how they manage their money, that carryover is going to take care of those deficits that we needed for 21's budget. So thanks to all the city employees and their work with that. A few of the things I'll mention that were in that budget. You've heard about Country Club Heights, the water drainage up there. That's an issue. It looks like it's going to be an even bigger issue than we thought, and they're working on that. Lower Market, redoing the brick down there similar to Sutton Street. And one of the big things is the Riverfront Development Project. You know, we've never taken a full advantage of that asset of having the river there. And so we're looking at several things. If you haven't seen what the Corps of Engineers did there last year on the dirt flood wall, it's pretty cool to see. And we need to put a maintenance road on the river side of that so that the city employees can take care of that. We'll look at new docks and a fueling system. There's no place in Maysville where a boat can come in and get fuel. So we hope to address that. Plus some utilities run to Limestone Landing, as well as some physical repairs there, and a public park area at Hardeman Landing and Pier. And then I saw on Facebook some concerns about 3rd Street, so I'll address those now. Of course, Columbia Gas has been there working. That is mandated by the government that they have to replace those lines. 4th Street is done, except for a few tie-ins to homes, and you can see how beautifully that's been repaved. The 3rd Street for the gas is done except for some tie-ins to home, and then of course repaving, and now they're working on Forest Avenue, and that's going to go all the way down to Main Street. And then the city is following Columbia Gas with the water and sewer lines. And the 3rd Street project, they still have some tie-ins to do and to fire hydrants. And then that project, as you probably all well know, runs from Bridge Street all the way to Wall Street. And we will be doing a smooth paving of that this fall. However, all that work probably won't be in time to do like what's done up on 4th Street, but it will all be redone. We're doing some patching now, but we'll do another nice layer for the winter, and then in the spring, it'll probably get redone like it is up on 4th Street. And one of the biggest things is the sewer, excuse me, the sewer line replacement project. As most of you know, that is also mandated to be addressed. And the city received part of the county's allocation for our funds, and so $180,000 of that is going to be used for redoing the sewer line from 3rd Street down Wall to the flood wall. It's a very expensive project there because the sewer line is down 20 feet. And so that project will start any day, so heads up that's going to be going on to keep in mind. And so $180,000 of our part of those ARPA funds will go toward that. The city also received $2.2 million, half this year and half next year. And we're like Owen, we're looking very carefully at where those funds are going to go. But with our mandated consent decree on the sewer project, that's where we're going to be looking the hardest. But I want to share with you these grants are not just simply given. There's a lot of work in figuring out, and a lot of the money isn't even available to us. It's earmarked for other things. So again, I really appreciate Amy and Christy's efforts in helping us secure to apply for the right project and make that work. Just briefly on the Limestone Creek flood pump, many of you may know that when the supplier received a new pump that we had made, it had a crack in it, so they had to go back and make another one. But the city is already working with Allied Engineer and the Corps of Engineers to do the plans and get everything in place for the pipes that's going to go to the river, as well as the installation of the pump, so that when we receive it, they can get right on and get that taken care of. The city has also applied for a grant that we don't know yet, but we have applied for one behind the library of doing some restoration to that flood area, and it would be dredging that out so that we can control the water a little better when we have a storm and help out the pump situation. So hopefully we'll hear soon about that. The train depot, that's the last segment of a TAP grant that did the sidewalks and things down on West 2nd Street. There was $180,000 of that left, and we just received notice that we are allowed to spend those funds now, and that's on the agenda for the City Commission later today. And so the design work and then will begin, and then construction bids let for that. And there's some new innovative things going on with some of the city departments, like Ann Porter and Lacey did a culinary tour recently of downtown. And we had great support from the businesses. We had a tremendous reaction from those that participated. In fact, two more groups have booked coming for culinary tours from that initial preliminary tour. So kind of does some of the more of those pieces about thinking outside the box on things. And I'm excited about the walking path and deck for walking and fishing. We've applied for a recreational trails grant in the amount of $330,000 to add that to the rec park. You know, our rec park is so used. You can't go out there and not see multiple people using multiple pieces of it. And it's a great resource for Maysville and Mason County. Just a couple of things on beautification improvement project. One thing, this was very important to Charles. This project started under his tenure, and that is the Housing Authority project. The buildings on Meadow Drive and Elizabeth Street are 70 years old, and the cost of the repairs have just become unmanageable. So Peter Jones and his team have received a federal grant. They have purchased some adjoining property, and they have already begun the demolition and removal so that they can start their project. And so we're very excited about that opportunity and how nice that's going to be for the east end of Maysville. The Rosemary Clooney mural and other spot repairs will begin next month, and I'm excited to say that those are going to be done by the original artist. And thanks to Caroline and some private citizens who have worked on that. Downtown art is such an attraction, and the murals, and recently there was an article done in the Herald Leader about murals around the state, and Maysville was one of the featured photos in that article. I also want to mention that the dilapidated properties, which was such a big issue that people shared with Charles, that project is moving forward, and I was very pleased that the commissioners approved $40,000 for Nicole to keep working on that and to keep that effort moving forward. Unfortunately, there's still work to do, but I'm so pleased, and I think that the folks in the city see those improvements, and we're seeing other improvements done to kind of go along. You get the ball rolling, and it just keeps rolling down the hill and growing and growing. We got quarterly cleanups coming up, and today that's on the agenda for the city commissioners, but the proposal is for October 5th through the 25th for the dumpsters to be out for quarterly cleanup. And this year they're adding pickup on Mondays and Wednesdays for leaves and debris, and that starts October 11th through the month of November. And we're very excited because I believe, Matt, maybe next week we might have the Rumpke recycled dumpsters. There are going to be 6 dumpsters in 2 locations. One in the parking lot across from the health department down on 2nd Street, and the other 6 will be out at the Public Works on Martha Comer Drive. And those, you'll have to really pay attention to what's recycled, because what they accept is a little bit different than what the county recycles, where I'm one of those 200 people who come and do my recycling every month. But I'm excited about the city because one of the things that Rumpke will take is glass. And I think we don't do that at the county. So if you have glass, then you'll have a place to go take that. But just watch, we'll have posters, and I'll put that on the Facebook page as well. Kind of maybe wrap it up here a little bit. The McDonald Parkway parking lot. I'm very excited to say, it's already used for a lot of events like Pig Out this weekend, but the city commissioners and Matt allocated funds to do a canopy over a section of that parking lot for events and for farmers market down there. And when it's not in use for events, people can certainly still park there, so it'll be a dual purpose. And the commission today will be discussing a name for that location. And I want to go back and mention for just a second the partnerships that Judge McNeill and I have, and the vision that we have, and as he talked about CTC, the consulting on the broadband is one of those. And Owen and Matt, they know the technical side. They have the relationship already with the providers. And my role has been as mayor to kind of really press for reliable service and at a price that our consumers and our businesses can afford. And so it's a great partnership, and it's working together to get that done. And Amy and Christy are also helping us with figuring out where we can apply for grants there. And that brings me down to the challenges and issues. And I have to reiterate what Owen said about COVID and us getting the vaccine and keeping our momentum moving in this positive direction. And I have to give a lot of the credit to the private investors here, whether that's in healthcare, in homes and housing, in retail businesses, in services. This private investment has kept our city moving forward. And, we wouldn't be where we are today if it wasn't for that. And then one of my biggest concerns is household income and getting all of our folks making a decent living wage. And I think some of the opportunities that Owen talked about are steps in getting us there. And I'd be remiss if I didn't share with you the work that Owen has put in to getting the retail and industrial items, businesses to locate here. The man is tirelessly on that effort. I get messages at 9:30 at night. And then for the city especially, it's this water and sewer. When I took the tour of the water plant and saw how old a lot of that infrastructure is, and with this mandate on the sewer and storms needing to be separated, so that's a huge focus for us. And unfortunately, that can was kicked down the road, and that's in the past, and we can't do anything about it. But now we have to, and we will. So that's a priority for us. And again, we'll be working with the Ad District, Matt and Owen, to ensure that we have good, safe, clean drinking water and functional sewer system. So in conclusion, I want to ask you to think back about 4 or 5 years when you could park anywhere you wanted downtown. There were empty spaces everywhere. There were empty buildings. Today, you got to hunt for a little parking spot, and you can get some of your steps in, park a little bit and get your steps in, and the retail space is kind of hard to find, both downtown and on top of the hill. So that's exciting. And again, a lot of that comes from folks, private investors, that are making that happen. People are choosing to live and work in Maysville and Mason County. And lastly, I'd like to say that I want to thank Owen for his leadership over the past 5 months, to Matt and the staff and the city employees. I just can't say enough about their love for the city, their dedication to their jobs, and also for their vision of how things could be better. I am so proud to be a part of that team. And, you know, when you look at this, I might ask you what you think this is. And some of you might say, well, it's half of a bottle of water or half a glass. Well, for me, it's a half a glass full. And I think our city is above half and moving toward the top. And I'm excited about, because I can see us get to where we're overflowing. Thank you. You want to join me?
All right, thank you both. We're gonna open it up for questions. And so since we are recording the event, I want to make sure that the audio from the questions follows through so that folks who tune in later can hear the questions that were asked and how our elected officials respond. So give me a second to get to you. I did not wear the right shoes, but just raise your hand if you have a question, and then I'll bring the mic to you. Somebody has to have a question. Oh, wow.
You answered everything.
Wow.
Wow.
Okay, well, if there really are, okay. Okay, I'm going to start over here first.
Could you speak a little bit to the decision to move the farmers market downtown and the factors involved with that?
It was not a decision to move the farmers market downtown. There will still be a farmers market, to the best of my knowledge, in Washington. This will just be an additional farmers market to maybe serve more people in the downtown area, and to offer more variety, or maybe farmers markets on more days.
I guess this is for Owen. What's the update on the solar situation out in the county?
So, on the solar. Yeah, that's right. We got a little thing, solar, going on in Mason County. Forgot.
I'm glad you asked him.
So, you know, I'm not...
Hey, Owen. Scoot over just a
Oh,
bit.
sorry. So solar in Mason County, you know, it's not only Mason County, but it's across Kentucky. It's multiple states. Communities are facing this issue, looking forward, and ultimately it boils down, in my mind, to a land use question, not dissimilar to many land use questions that have come before, you know, zoning regulations previously. And so, you know, the commissioners and I agree it's you know, not our role to come out and say, hey, we love solar or we hate solar. we've got the Joint Planning Commission and those commissioners that are, I've been very pleased with how serious they are taking the issue, and I can think of no more equitable body that is representative of Mason County than the Joint Planning Commission. And I greatly appreciate the efforts and the hard work they've been putting into it. It's obvious they are researching it well. I will say, I think, and I would like to see the public input sessions of this process come ahead, possibly even this month, because I think hearing from our citizens, their ambitions and wants regarding solar is going to go a long way in not only informing those commissioners, but all of our elected leaders in how collectively we move forward. But ultimately, the JPC, their commissioners, have been reviewing it for quite some time now. They've done a very thorough job. I envision public input sessions, multiple occasions of public input sessions where maybe it's a Tuesday evening and a Thursday evening, and maybe our partners at the community college can help us with one of their larger auditoriums. But I think, and I've spoken with Judge Pace in Winchester and other leaders that have a little bit farther ahead on this than I am, and Judge, that's the other aspect of it too. I think as a community, our ambitions are protected better, and our local wishes are protected better when we do develop an ordinance, whether to have solar or to not have solar, but to have that local ordinance where at least it's our decision. Throughout this whole process, I've always said I want it to be a local Mason County citizens' decision, not Frankfurt, not DC's, not some solar companies. And I think the JPC is doing a great job with that, and I'm looking forward to our public information sessions, hopefully this month, and then they'll come back with a few more work sessions, kind of better understanding the issue going forward. So.
Any other questions?
Chief.
Good morning,
Good morning, Chief.
Mayor and Judge. Ronald Rice. My question is, and I'd like to hear both of you speak on this, address this. We've got the Maysville-Mason County stamp on so many things, and that's a good thing. Is it time that Maysville-Mason County consider becoming an urban county government? Versailles, Woodford County is not unlike the size of Maysville-Mason County. We could pool our resources. There's some areas of this county that still don't have sewer systems. They just have, septic tanks. What are your thoughts on an urban county government?
You want me to go?
Doesn't matter.
Go ahead.
Well, I think you make a good point, and that's part of why Owen and I have been working so diligently on projects to save money. And I'm not sure if you all know, but a lot of the salaries, like tourism director, that's a joint Maysville-Mason County, and so both of us pay pieces of that salary. We're able to do more because we share, and we're looking closer at that. And I think, as Owen shared with you, as funds get tighter, then we're definitely going to have to look at where we can be the most efficient and to get the best value for the tax dollar spent.
Yeah, I mean, I'll agree with that sentiment, and I think that also highlights how important it is, not only our strong relationships with the city and the county, but also our relationships with the state and even at the national level. But you're seeing this issue not only across Kentucky with 120 counties in the state of Kentucky, but also on a national level. And so while you do gain a lot of efficiencies by going that route, it's a question out there. But I think we do a very good job of finding those efficiencies. i.e. through tourism or through our interrelation, especially when the relationship between the city and county is so strong that we're reaping a lot of those benefits already. And so, just as the mayor said, it's certainly something to look into and consider going forward.
Kind of comes back to the phrase working smarter, not harder, and especially not duplicating services so that we're not both spending money trying to accomplish the same thing. And I think that working relationship really helps us in being cognitive of that.
My question is just about the old JCPenney building at Market Square. Is there anything going to go in that building? And then we had the pet store that actually left too. So we're just asking, because AT&T's right beside that, so that brings customers into us.
So I'll tell you a story. About a year ago, about 2 weeks after we lost Goodies and lost JCPenney's through no fault of our retail marketplace here, basically COVID and both corporate entities not only being caught flat-footed but having some internal strife. We came together as a group, wrote a letter from the Industrial Authority. I think the chamber joined in with us, both the city and the county, expressing to Midland Atlantic, the property owners, not only Midland but DeVille, and all of our larger shopping center owners, Bluegrass, all of them, kind of saying, hey, look, it's obvious to us that our citizens, want not only big box retail clothing, but a myriad of different options, and that the city and the county stand prepared to assist in any way we can in your individual recruiting efforts. And so from those letters, I think we're going to be seeing a lot of proceeds and reaping the rewards from those. There's nothing instant. There's no instant gratification in economic development. These projects take a while. A lot of times you have to sign like non-disclosure agreements and things like that. I think the mayor and I can say that Mason County will go from big box retail clothing poor to big box retail clothing rich very soon with multiple options. As for the open spaces, as of a month and a half ago, we had letters of intent on all of our square footage within the retail shopping centers, except for about 4,000 square feet on the Big Lots end of Bluegrass. Letters of intent are broken every day, though, but I think that highlights the momentum that we're looking at, with people wanting to come into our retail marketplace. And you asked specifically about the pet store, I think.
The JCPenney.
Well, the JCPenney's is, I'll just say we've got multiple people, multiple entities kind of looking at that space, and I'm pretty confident, somebody's going to jump on it really soon. So I'm sorry. I wish I could be, it's just sometimes it's the best you can answer. Yes, ma'am.
Any other questions?
With Mason County and Maysville having a very robust zoning process, but also with being blessed with the balance that's maintained with the comprehensive plan, what is your time frame for review and revision of the comprehensive plan?
I think it comes up in a year plus, I believe. It's a 5-year plan, so I think we're due year and a half, so 6 to 18 months, I think.
And that's also just a process that's ongoing. You're always looking at what that plan is and how you can move forward with it with the resources that you have now. And so that's a continuous piece, although we will get more broader input with that plan when it's redone on the 5th year.
We've made it just at an hour, so I want to go ahead and just give one more round of applause for Crosspoint Community Church for hosting us today. And then, of course, both of our elected officials for being so open and taking the questions and then giving wonderful presentations too. So thank you, everybody, for being with us today. I hope to see you again soon. We have a couple of events coming up. The headshots on at Studio 15 on the 5th and 6th, and then the ribbon cutting on the 8th at Classic Cuts Barbershop. Have a wonderful day.